Right there, the latest weather projections currently show Hurricane Rita is a Category 4 hurricane and heading toward Texas. Louisiana, though, not taking any chances. The governor there declaring a state of emergency for parishes in the southwestern part of the state. Evacuations are already underway in New Orleans. Senator Mary Landrieu of Louisiana joins us this morning. Nice to see you. Thank you for talking with us.
Thank you.
What exactly is the state doing to prepare that's different from the preparations that were made before Katrina hit?
Well, I'd like to believe we've all learned how to prepare better and to be more organized and working more closely together. We don't wish this storm on anyone. We wish it would turn back out into the Gulf. These storms are extremely dangerous, which means that you can't wait to prepare when they're coming upon you. You've got to prepare well ahead of time, and that takes investments. It takes investments and strategy from the federal level, the state level, and the local level. One of the things the Gulf Coast needs is investments in coastal communities, protection for our marshes, and investments in critical infrastructure. If this storm hits Galveston, can I remind everyone again, Soledad, that it's going to hit the heart of the oil industry in the Gulf. Besides the loss of life that could occur and the loss of property, it is also another hit to our economy for the nation, not just for that region.
Before we talk about the financial implications, not only of Rita, but also in the wake of Katrina, let's talk a little bit about preparations. I mean, you talked about everybody's sort of learned a lesson. What about the lesson of who's in charge? If Hurricane Rita were to hit, God forbid, who's managing the disaster? Who is in charge?
Well, as you know, a hurricane is not just an incident that occurs in one small neighborhood of one city. It can go across states and regions. So it's more complicated than some other disasters. You've got several governors. You'll have maybe 10s, 20, 30 mayors. You'll have county commissioners and parish commissioners. So it's very important for FEMA as the federal agency to coordinate all of that. That was not done, of course, in Katrina. FEMA is a shell of what it once was. We've got to stand FEMA up and support the federal basic management so you can manage all of your resources well, your state resources, your local resources, and your private sector resources.
You've been very critical of the president when you mentioned FEMA. In fact, at one point you were jokingly threatening, and threatening is too strong a word, but you jokingly said that you would punch him on the nose if he continued to criticize local relief efforts and state relief efforts. Is the relationship better now, do you think? I mean, again, you're obviously
well,
not
actually, that wasn't just directed at the president. I said I'd punch anybody in the nose that continued to criticize first responders and local people on the ground who were trying to save lives, police officers and doctors and nurses that waded through 10 feet, of water to try to save their families and their communities.
Is there a better relationship now between what's happening?
There's never been a bad relationship. What it's been is that the federal government needs to be a partner with state and local governments, and FEMA needs to be stood up. Now, whether we can correct all of the faults of FEMA now, whether it's something we have to work out in the long run, we'll have to see. But yes, we've got a very good working relationship, and we'll continue to through the storm. But as I said, we're all going to be held accountable for what was and what wasn't done.
Let's talk about the money. What's the price tag, do you think, at the end of the day for the Reconstruction?
Well, it's going to hit somewhere between $200 and $300 billion. I mean, it is a staggering amount of money. And again, it wasn't just the hurricane, it was the breaking of a levee system.
Can the state manage those resources? I know you'd like to have the state
Well, it's not just the state that's going to manage those resources. There'll be corporate management of some resources, there'll be federal management of some resources, and then obviously the governor and the local officials.
You would like the bulk of the money to be managed, though, by the state, and the rebuilding to be headed by the people who live there.
Well, what I'd like to see is accountability at every level, and I would like to see the designs led by local and state officials so that we designed it on the banks of the Mississippi and not the Potomac, and financed by the whole nation. I mean, obviously, if something happened to New York or San Francisco, they'd have the same view. We want New Yorkers to rebuild New York. We want people that live in San Francisco to rebuild San Francisco. So the same thing for New Orleans. We want to make it whole and wonderful and better and stronger. And last night at Madison Square Garden, your entertainers came together to really support the rebuilding of the Gulf Coast. It might have to extend now to Galveston. Let's hope it doesn't, but we want to rebuild where we can and do it in the right way.
Not sure that Elton John and Jimmy Buffett count as New Yorkers, but we'll certainly take credit for them.
Well, we had all sorts of folks there, including our own.
Senator Mary Landrieu, nice to see you. Thank you for talking with us this morning.